Poodle family, welcome to this week's show. So, all right, so it wouldn't be right if I didn't have something go wrong right before bringing on a VIP guest here. So, we've been talking about my house fire from last episode all the way back to one, and now I have workers here, and they decided to start working on some electric, and about exactly, 8 minutes or so before we were supposed to go live, the power gets killed in my entire office. So I'm back and reconnected and all of that. And, what kind of show would it be if I didn't have a power outage? So we are really excited this week because we have a VIP guest. And I absolutely love, the hashtag women in crypto. I love stories about just those who have found Poodle for a while and gotten involved in it and really invested in the community. I love talking to community people. So this is first week of 2 in a row where we're going to talk to community members. So I really should not waste airtime and bring right on. And with no further ado, let me see if I can make this happen. Boom. There we go. Karin, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself. Tell everyone who you are, and kind of what you do let's just start with who you are and kind of what you do now with Poodle. I know you're kind of one of the mods. Get into that. And then we'll talk about your history in a bit.
Yeah. Just, what, it's funny. We spoke a little bit before the show, and I forgot to tell you that everyone sees my name and says Karin, but my name is pronounced Karin, like car in the garage. And I forgot to tell you that. So
I meant to ask. I was going to ask too, right when what's funny is right when the power outage, I was like, okay, I should ask. And,
well, you know what? I'm very used to telling people. So yeah, that's easy. So as far as, my favorite dog in the world is Poodle. So when I saw the opportunity to buy Poodle, just to look at it, I was amazed at, wow, there's a token named Poodle, and went to the website and looked at it and saw Canine for Kids charity, and I was hooked. It was an amazing thing. I did buy the original version of Poodle a couple weeks before they did the airdrop, and really I bought it and I didn't pay attention to it for about a month, and then came back on and got on the Telegram group, and wow, that's when I didn't just buy a Poodle token. I bought this amazing token that's connected to this incredible team. I needed help in knowing what to do, and I got help very quickly. And I, literally for a month, there was at least 20 people a day that needed help. And I especially Moose was the first one that I was just moved by, because he just over and over and over again would say something on the main chat, but if he needed to DM him, he never once said anything that wasn't just kind to help people figure it out. Because there were people from other countries that had a limited ability to speak our language, write in our language, and he would just work with those people to help them convert their Poodle, or it wasn't converting, but go over to the BSC network.
Yeah, that is awesome. So it's funny. So you started 2 weeks before. So that was V1, and you said you kind of didn't pay attention. So was it, and I know we didn't really pre-talk, just again, behind the curtains, everybody, you all know these shows are not scripted. So I'm asking the question. This is just two people talking. So did you completely not pay attention and go, whoa, what happened to my token? Or did you kind of know something was about to happen?
No, I completely didn't pay attention. Well, the person that recommended Poodle to me said that there was going to be something that was going to happen. And honestly, I didn't know what it was. I didn't even understand it. And so I thought, I should check, that I need to go and check. And I looked at the website, found the Telegram channel, and went on there. So no, my thought is in crypto anyway, is when I buy crypto, I don't trade it. I buy it and I hold on to it. I'm a hodler.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that that's what I was going to do with Poodle. And there's never been a moment from the moment I bought it, and then, now that I have the V2, I love Poodle, and I'm with Poodle for life.
Oh, that's awesome. So I know, I guess let's get a little bit into, you said, you do the right thing, you hoodle the poodle, right? But so what is your kind of crypto background? Like you said, obviously you had to stumble across it, or had you been getting into some altcoins, meme coins and stuff, or, kind of
Yes.
what is that?
Well, Poodle's really my first and only meme coin, honestly. Never bought another one, nor do I think about it. I mean, it was just, now that I've had the experience I've had with Poodle, I don't even feel like wanting to be with any other meme coins. And I know that Poodle's moving out of being a meme coin, which is amazing. I started in crypto in early 2017, just little bits, and then started getting serious in 2018. And I think, like everybody, I had my scam experience. But I'm always good at position sizing, so I don't put my eggs all in one basket. So while it wasn't fun to have that happen, I didn't lose everything, and I continued on with a little more savvy. And when Poodle came to me, which was April, I would say that's probably one of the last coin tokens she's a token, but as one of the last tokens that I purchased.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And I keep purchasing. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, when you did your 500 billion, I went, I'm going to buy some more. Okay.
Hey, that's what we have to do. Like I tell you, it's one of those things. Like, don't you get like that? Like, all right, I tell everyone, I suffer from FOMO because I sit there and go, well, what if when this thing like really takes off and I had the opportunity to keep piling on and I don't? Then I'm like I just feel like I have to. It's addicting.
It's very addicting. And really, when you think about the fact that buying a billion Poodle is, less than going out to eat. And at this point, it's like, and you think, and exactly when you think, what about it, even if it just reaches 100x, which we think it's going to do way more than that. But even at 100x, that's huge. And for some people, that will be life-changing.
Yeah.
And that's what makes I think that's what I feel super inspired about is that life-changing aspect of it for so many people, having the opportunity to get into Poodle. And we have, how many holders do we have now, Joe? Is it, I know we show something like 20 something thousand, but that's not showing the central.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of different things. We have to guess that it's well over 50,000, probably closer to 70,000. That's
a lot.
It has to be. Just, it's 26 something, I think, on BSC, but then again, that doesn't count any white bit holders. It doesn't count anything that's on any other exchanges. So so there's probably a ton, which is, there we go. Sasha's putting it in there, over 50,000 across both.
Oh man.
So that's pretty awesome. And you can feel it in the community. And I think it's interesting. One thing that I like, and I know someone tweeted this out, I think when they saw that you were coming on, and I did my pre-tweet of what was coming up on the show, and they made a comment about how the Telegram is a non-toxic environment. And that to me is something that stands out, because a lot of the other Telegrams, other tokens, a lot of things, you don't see that. And we really have a supportive community. Do you kind of feel the same thing? And can you speak to that?
Oh my goodness, yes. When I first started as a mod, really the only thing I was doing was just deleting some of the bot stuff. And there's been a couple of hilarious scuffles in there that are, like two boys, two 12-year-olds fighting back and forth. And, mama gets in the middle. That's why I like being called Mama Karin. And it's like, knock it off, you guys. I don't have to even ban anybody. It's just like, knock it off. It's like, okay. And that's the worst of it for me. I know. And I love Elle, because she comes in there and she just, she's not going to put up with anything. And there are times where I think I'm probably a little softer, and she's not going to put up with anything. And I love having these females in there that are helping out with the male mods as well. I just think it's a wonderful balance, and there's just so much permission for people to get on there. My husband will be sitting in his chair and listening to me laugh as I'm looking at my phone, because people are saying things in Telegram that are hilarious, and you've got this continuation, and it happens a lot. So there's just a lot of goodwill, silliness. I mean, that's part of it. Everybody needs a good laugh, and I think people really adhere to the rules, and yet every now and then someone comes in and they ask a question that can sound like FUD. I've seen Moose do it a few times where he'll spend more time with them than I think Elle and I would, but he turns them around, I think. And so we give each other permission to deal with it how we want to deal with it. And I've seen that work really well too.
Yeah.
The community just thrives.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like that, because what do you, as a moderator of the channel, like, what do you feel when people come in and they do FUD or they have the negativity? Do you think it's anger? Do you think it's just they want to pick a fight? Do you think it's confusion and they just don't know, and they don't know how to actually ask the right questions? What do you see?
I think it's a mix of that, and there are definitely people that are just coming in to cause problems. Mm-hmm. And I have to tell you that Elle has probably one of the best noses for that. She's, she'll see someone and she'll private message me and say, "Watch out," and sure enough, that person is causing trouble and gone. But sometimes people do come in with a little bit heavier countenance, and that's where, and then when I see Moose step in, I'll step back for a little bit, because I've watched him do it enough. It's not 100%, but I've watched him do it enough where he's worked back and forth with someone that he's literally taken someone that I would have personally said, "Out. This is not going anywhere." And he's turned them around and they say, "Thank you" at the end. And I think, well, okay, well, because, Moose says that he'd rather work with them a little bit in the main chat than have to go chase them on Twitter. And so, yeah, I mean, it, and yet I've seen Elle just do a beautiful job, or Sasha do a beautiful job of stopping someone in the middle and just saying, "Okay, that's enough. We've told you what you need to do. Enough. Bye-bye."
Yep.
We give them because there's the 3 warning things. So, but it's really, and I've noticed lately there's even less of that. I don't know if you've noticed that, but
yep.
There's just a lot more people. There are people coming in saying something about the price, but we have wonderful answers, right? We have this augmented reality, virtual reality coming up. Moose is putting it out there, showing what's going on. People are going, "Wow." So that really sort of stops the price talk, the negative price talk, in its tracks.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And so, let's get to that. Obviously from when we were there, things, have taken a dip, yet there's a turn to utility. Where do you just personally see that difference? Like, a lot of time, and I think we even talked about this before we hit record and before the power failure, we said, one of the things that we both respect about the group, and all of it, is that it really would have been much easier for all the, admins when, right before V1 turned to V2, or things went south during all that fiasco, to just say, "All right, we're cutting bait, we're getting out." But instead of doing that, felt like, hey, there's a duty to the investors, and then to say, okay, well, what can we do? How can we turn this into a utility and go and from there? And I don't know if I'm kind of making a question out of this or a statement, but kind of what are your feelings with that? How do you value that? And as part as, the purpose and the drive and the move going forward?
I saw that desire from the beginning. Some of the things that were discussed just even in the main chat about things that they wanted to do, they meaning the admins. And then when I was brought on as a mod, I could see a little bit more in the back room of what was being talked about. And I have never been unimpressed. I've always been impressed with, even when, things don't work, they don't stop. It's like there's just constant innovation and discussion about how should we present this, and what if we do it this way? No, that isn't the way it works. And I think almost all of us that's lived for more than 50 years has been to plenty of meetings and had those, no matter what country you're in, if you're working in your group and you go to meetings. And so we all kind of know how meetings can go and how they can just be such a quagmire.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just impressed with what gets done and discussed and agreed upon, even when it's an agreement to disagree, but it doesn't stop the process.
Yep.
So that's what's going on in Poodle. I'm telling you guys out loud. It doesn't stop, even when you don't see it going on in main chat. The innovation and the discussion about how can we make this better, what can we do to keep her going, is constant.
Yeah. So what can then somebody, what's your advice for maybe a new investor, and they don't really, I'm still learning the whole NFT, AR, VR. I mean, I do work in technology, so I know some of it, but how it works in the crypto world. But obviously there's a lot of people who have no idea about it or anything. So kind of what is your, and I think you might kind of fall that direction too.
I do actually. What I feel really good about, it's funny, I haven't vocalized this, but one of the things that I feel like beyond excited about is that I'm in a community of people that I 100% trust that's going to do NFTs and they're looking at creating the games and having these NFTs for gaming or what have you. And I'm going to be able to ask them, okay, tell me how I can do this. Of course, I'm going to invest in it. I totally have that ready to go. But I'm going to be able to ask these people as a total newbie and not feel stupid, and also not feel worried that they'll lie to me or lead me astray. So if I were talking to someone new, that's what I'd say. And actually, I have to tell you, I have a son who's did quite well in crypto, and he's known about Poodle and hasn't been interested in investing in Poodle until last week. And I told him about the virtual reality and the AR, and he said, oh, could you give me the information so I could buy? When it went up to 18 cents, I was wondering if that was my son. I don't know. I didn't ask him, but yeah. So I actually brought someone in that was like, but he decided when he heard about that, oh, okay, now's the time.
Yep. No, I love that. And I think you said something really, well, you've said everything really smart so far. But one thing I don't want us to glance over, you made the point of one of the things that really, made you get invested in, in the community was because of the way they helped you after the, V1, V2 transition, the helpfulness of the Telegram. And then you just said again, well, when we start getting into the utilities and how you're confident that they're going to also be there to help people, guide people, educate people of kind of what this means. And I think that that's something really important that we shouldn't overlook, because I think the ability to educate and bring people along for the ride is a strength of the admins of this token. And to be able to say, and to build the community, not just, hey, you're buying this thing, invest in it, but we really want you to understand what it is. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that that's huge.
And I think that as much as we're all impatient about wanting this token to moon, the silver lining of it going as slow as it has is because I know people come on and they say, well, I'm mostly lurking and I'm mostly just watching what's going on. I'm not saying anything. There are a lot of people that are on the channel that are just watching. Well, there's this goodwill, as we've just spoken of, this really good team that's there that makes these people feel comfortable. So when everything is presented, you're right, these people will then be able to come on, even if they have limited English, and say, can you help me buy this NFT? Or what do I need to do? How do I need to? You're right. It's going to be work for you all over again, Moose, if you're listening.
He is. He's on. He's on the chat. So
but it'll be good. It'll be great. It'll just be, we can all be there to help people to, inspire them to do what they need to do to build Poodle, to build their own investment. That's the other thing I love. I hear it said a lot, and I think a lot of people forget that this isn't just buy this and maybe it'll go up. It's an investment. And when you think of that word investment, I'm investing in this token, it changes, I think, the energy from I'm just hoping to get rich to, oh, I'm invested. There's something about this. And when you think of the community along with it, they go hand in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. So advice then for people who are those lurkers, like what can they do? How can they help their investment or help the community out more? What do you see that maybe is something where just the normal investor can do something?
Yeah. And one of the things I wish that people would do more, just because it's so simple, is tweet or upvote on Reddit or Facebook, anything that what they're comfortable with social media. I figure if they're on Telegram, they're at least on one of those others. And it's so simple. I've joked about it on main chat and said, if this young baby boomer can do it, anybody else can do it. It's not, I don't tweet. I mean, once in a while I'll make a comment, but I definitely retweet and like because it's easy. It takes a minute at maximum, and it's so important. So that would be one of the biggest ways. And then of course, investing, dollar cost averaging, which is a term that's just saying taking a little bit at a time of what you can afford to continually buying into Poodle, is also another wonderful way to watch.
Yeah.
Grow.
I love that. I love that, because it is interesting that people often just kind of wait around. And I've said this is, if we really wanted to make this pump, you realize that everybody, and I don't mean pump just for the sake of getting it up, but if we all did that, if we all said, hey, I'm going to, take, I'm making this dollar amount, $20 out of every check I get. I'm just going to buy a little bit more Poodle. And we started seeing all those buys in that activity, just the momentum that would start to go. Even though, a few episodes ago, I said, yeah, did I go buy $200 billion? Yes, I did. But even just that little bit, everyone just did, a few $100 million, which is not much money at all. No. Be amazed how much momentum, how this would start to grow, and how it would, how it would trend as well. And that would actually be the easiest way for very little money. Yes. More transactions for less money is better than just one person going in and buying big.
Yes. And as we've all seen, as some of these whales have finally left us, how that affects us. This is the better way. I'd rather have, 1 million holders that have just, enough to make their lives better than, 100,000 holders that, 20,000 of them have it so much that they can really create a problem when they sell their stuff, sell their tokens.
Yep.
And and I love that when you had Hunter Patterson on the show, and he said that was one of the things that he loved about our token, was we were building everything organically. And that is part of the organic building, is to have people just what they can afford. Of course, I think everyone understands we're not asking anybody to add to the tokens with money that they can't afford. But you'd be surprised if you did $30 a month or $30 a week, what you would accrue over time.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. And it's like, I actually love this. It would be great to see if there was a way to make a challenge to turn that into it, because it would make such a difference. And I think, and I think people really respect that. Is one thing I love about this token. And, we might joke on the Telegram about people who, maybe only invested $50 and then they complain that it dropped in value or whatever. But the fact is $50 is $50, yes. And it is huge to many people.
Yes.
And, but the flip side with that, though, is, wow, if everyone just did a little amount or, proportional to what they can afford, what could end up happening? We could take that person where maybe that was their only $50. And maybe that was their test into, they've heard about Poodle, but they heard things we're doing, but no one's going to walk in and dump a lot of money when you're just hearing it. You're going to test the water, right? You're going to see if how's it feel. So that maybe then we can, how great would that be if we go 100x, someone's $50 just became, 5,000? That's pretty good, right?
It can be life-changing for some people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to me, I think I love that about crypto, is that ability for the equity that we can see and get around the world. I mean, people talk about DeFi and all these things, but really the core principle behind it is that it empowers people to control their own investments, and I think that's why FUD bothers me, only because I sit there and think, if you're really invested, I mean, if then, let's all help one another, right?
Right. And I always think, I've never in my whole entire life, now I live in the United States, but I'm sure there's an equivalent in other countries, that people who have retirement accounts or something similar. I've never heard anyone say, after having a 401k for 3 or 4 months, say, why is my money not, 1,000 times? Now I know we're talking crypto versus, regular money, but nevertheless, it's like, come on, you guys, this is really a new token. If it took a year, if it took 2 years, and we were madly, to the moon, I'm not going to complain. It's like, we'll see how long it takes, but I'm with you. It's an investment, and sometimes that investment is time as well as money.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that thought, because it is. And I think that's just saying what you did, like little buys. And I think this is kind of the takeaway for everybody. Little buys, don't throw yourself, don't put yourself in a position where you can't afford. Buy little things, get out there and get on the social media, do a random tweet, come and join the community. And it'd be amazing if everyone just did that.
Yeah.
Amazing how we would take off. And then that's when then you really start to recognize, then all the other things, the utilities that come with that, is where the value goes. But when you have a solid base of a community, that's huge.
Yeah. Yes. I think that that's what this POODLCAST does that I love, is that those that are listening can get inspired and realize, oh, I am important. I mean, that's the message that I think I want to impart here to everybody that's listening, to anybody that's on the channels. You are important. Your one little vote, your one little retweet, all of that put together builds a huge, wonderful, strong fortress. And Poodle absolutely will thrive. So, put yourself in there. It's okay. Yes, you are important. Yes, indeed, you are.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. And I think that just building the value in people and saying, their value in the token comes from valuing our people. And I think that's also just even kind of transitioning the charity aspect. So how much of the charity, was that a draw to the token to you?
Oh, that was probably a huge piece for me to see the Canines for Kids. I was amazed when you had your POODLCAST with Kristen. Wow. I thought, I felt so proud that I was part of that contribution. I love that even now our tokenomics gives part of that every time somebody buys Poodle, that they get a piece of the action. I know that we want to expand beyond that. Once Poodle expands, that we'll have more charities. And that Elle has done her own charity work through, through Poodle's, and advertised it through Poodle, or not advertised it, but showed that she was doing that. So we're trying to encourage people to give to charity themselves, and then using Poodle as a, I'm sorry, the word's slipping for me, but as an advocate for that charity.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love the kind of the AutoSend, because really you're just, by being a holder, by investing in the community, driving driving the trade, and more activity, it just supports. And I think that's another thing to recognize. It's like, You want to help the charity, which you can't. I mean, we encourage everyone to, send to the charity wallet, donate, all that. But the best way to do that, honestly, is just build the number of holders. Tell more people about the token, because when they buy, a percentage is already going to go. So you can invest that way just by doing all the right things for the token.
It's a triple win that way, right? You gain, they gain, and the community gains. So win, win, win.
Yeah, totally agree. So just kind of going now, you spend a lot of time on the Telegram doing mod stuff, and you've been involved in a while. I want to kind of do just some random questions for you here. What's your favorite meme? What's your go-to meme for Poodle?
For on Telegram?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh, there's so many that come up that crack me up, but I don't have a lot that I use. But the one that I like, that Sasha uses a lot, is the one with Kermit, the one where they're whispering with Kermit saying something with the hoods on.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Every time I see that, it makes me laugh. But I honestly, I do mostly GIFs, or mostly emotion.
Mm-hmm.
The emojis.
Emojis, yeah.
So I'm not a huge GIF person.
No, and I love it. So, and I think that it's funny because when I loved your answer, because if we tie it to the direction of the token, it's really important, right? Because we started as a quote unquote meme token, right? And that was kind of the whole thing. Whatever, and all these other ones that popped up, whoever could create the best memes was going to win. And yet now, while we create them, and it's fun, and you get the Poodle Olympics, and you get out there and do it, the fact is, we're recognized by the other things that we're doing than by just creating the fun. Now that becomes almost the marketing side, creating the memes, not the identity of the token. And I think that's a big change, right? And
well, the one that made me laugh the most was the one that got wrong. They got wrong that Trent was trying to get people to create the memes, and they ended up doing Trent. And there was that one animation where everybody's looking up in the sky and their mouths are open, and then Trent dog comes at the end. And I lost it. That was one of the times where I was laughing so hard. My husband was like, "What?" That's like that. It's hilarious. So I guess really, actually, that's probably my favorite meme, because it was just hilarious. But I mean, I think that Trent and Elle and Sasha have created so many different memes that I can't even choose one. They're so good. Yeah, every day I'm like amazed.
I'm loving it. The chat's going off on this about the Trent duck. So this is funny. Yeah, I'm glad that we're here to stoke the crowd. So that's perfect. We're here for the comic relief. So okay, so now going from that, the fun side of it, what are you most excited about for future direction?
Well, pretty much stated that I am just really excited to see how the utility comes together. The ability to work with other people, other devs. Moose works so hard. I'm hoping that, we'll get more people to, he can do it, but it's always better when you have those extra bodies. So I guess I'm just really excited to watch this grow. And I really don't have any tech background at all. They'll get into their tech talk and I'll go, oh yeah, that's tech talk. I don't have to understand that. But I love the end result.
Yep. Yeah, totally agree. I'm excited. I'm really excited about the direction we're going and what's going to be happening. And I think, especially when, crypto really is we're already seeing the whole market starting to turn back. I think that there's going to be this kind of, big second coming of crypto, and we're so positioned well to really be able to take advantage of it. The NFTs, the AR, VR, the wearables, all of these things that are just so, building steam, and how we're so plugged in. I love it.
Yes, so, I agree.
So I guess I'm looking at the time and went, wow, I knew this was going to go long. I knew I was going to have so much fun talking to you. So I guess just a closing remark then is there anything, anything I didn't cover, anything advice you want to give people? Final closing words.
No, I think I wrote down something that Sasha said because I loved it, and I'll just close with this. And he said, Poodleverse is our own little slice of the metaverse. And I loved that. Just want to end with that.
Poodleverse is our own slice of the metaverse.
Wow. Our own little slice.
I love that. I love it. Oh, that's good. That's a good. Wow, you even came prepared. You're more prepared than I've ever been on an episode. So that's fantastic. I just want to say thank you again very much. I really encourage people to, just interact with you on the Telegram, get involved, and I have enjoyed this so much. So again, thank you very much for coming on the show. Looking forward to seeing you on the Telegram.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. Hey, thank you, everybody. Wow, that was just fantastic. I encourage everyone, again, we had some great takeaways here. The first is obviously small investments, right? We're all going to do the $50 challenge, right? Did we make up a $50 challenge? I think we did. Within the next 24 hours, when we're off this thing, you're going to do $50, everyone. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's get out there on the Twitters, right? Let's get some social activity, build up the value of what we're doing, support the community. And I think it's important. I'm adding another one. Let's be a moose here. When we see people on the Telegram who maybe come in for FUD, let's follow the great examples of all of our mods, as we already heard today, and we heard is interact with them. Maybe don't assume that negativity means FUD. It could just mean they're curious, they're questionable, they don't understand what we're doing. Take time to get in there, take time to educate, and let's build up, because we can turn those who are just curious, have no idea what's going on, into great people of our community, great investors, and great ambassadors. And I think that's a huge takeaway. So I encourage everyone to do that. We're back next week, more guests. You'll see it teased soon. Make sure you like, share, tell 100 of your closest friends about this show. Follow it at POODLCAST everywhere. And actually, I think it's only on Twitter. I said everywhere, but it's on Twitter. And subscribe on all of that's where you can find it everywhere. Obviously, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. That's where we're everywhere. And of course, I'm Joe Way. You can find me on all the socials at Josiah Way. Appreciate you all coming today and listening to the show. We'll see you next time. Peace out, Poodle family.